All right.
You had a big inhale. You went, all right. Hey, everybody.
We're back again.
Yeah. It's been a kind of an interesting past couple of weeks.
It has.
As far as podcasting goes.
We got to do a different show.
Which was super fun.
It was a lot of fun. And then also other people got to do our show.
Yeah, so...
Which was also really fun.
Yeah, it was. So if you didn't hear us on... What was the podcast we did? I remember I know the theme. What was the name?
We were on Second Watch, and we did their How Would Sean Bean Have Died edition.
Yes.
And we covered Home Alone.
We did Home Alone. They do a fun little mini episode, I guess, every now and again where they talk about a movie and how Sean Bean would be in that movie if he would have a new role or an existing role in the movie, and then how he would die.
Because he always dies.
He always dies in movies.
So we were on Second Watch, and then Drinkopedia hosted our show last week.
And they did so well.
They did a really great job.
They're, we usually try to do like some trivia or a game or something in the middle of our podcast here on Not Suitable for Adults, and they did that as well, and their game had me like laughing.
Yeah, it was a really fun game.
Yeah, it was fun.
So they did a great job, and that was all part of Podcast Secret Santa, which was this zany idea that from the mind of, I think, Ben from Geek Exploration, the podcast, who we've swapped promos with before. You probably heard them at some point if you've been a long time listener. So yeah, there were 10 total podcasts that got together to do this, and it was a blast. Everyone had a great time. And
nobody knew who had their podcast, who was taking over their podcast, and nobody knew up until time really what podcast they were doing.
Right, yeah.
So they gave you time, everybody had time to prepare somewhat, but it was a surprise all around for everyone, which made it a lot of fun.
So if you've got the time, and who doesn't at this, there's just time to spare. Everyone's got time. So what you want to do is, if you want to catch all of the Podcast Secret Santa action, Ben from Geek Exploration created a Podcast Secret Santa playlist at podchaser.com. So if you go to Podchaser and search for Podcast Secret Santa, you can find all 10 mix and match episodes there. And then also, I'm not sure if he put the D&D one shot on that list or not, but all the other channels involved posted the D&D one shot. We couldn't do it because we're not an explicit channel, and they said some cuss words.
Yeah, they did some words, and we didn't want our fellow parents to turn on their volumes at full blast, listening to what they thought was not suitable for adults.
It turns out it's not suitable for children.
Yeah.
Yeah. In many ways, actually,
but
because of
Rich
what we
was
did.
On that one.
Yeah. It was a lot. That was a lot of fun to record as well. We did a single campaign in one night, but we split it into 2 episodes that sort of capped the ends of the Podcast Secret Santa event. So there are 2 episodes of that. You can find it on any of the other channels. I've been listening to it on Geek Exploration's channel because they were the ones who sort of organized the whole thing. So I gave them a little love there. But yeah, you can access those out there. Podchaser.com to find the playlist, Geek Exploration, or one of the other channels for the D&D one shot.
Guys, it's been a week or 2.
Yeah.
There's been many things just for us personally, especially. And so today's episode is going to be just kind of chill. We did not prepare a lot this week with holidays, and we have family in town now, and just lots of things.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's not just Christmas. It's Christmas in 2020. And then there was a kind of a local tragedy as well that's affected everyone's life, literally. So
yeah, if you guys don't already know, we live in Nashville, and if you don't already know, a bomb went off in downtown Nashville, and it AT&T is our internet provider, and so we have been without internet for the past 3 days.
Yeah, we're running on hotspots. So, but we want to not that we bring like especially bright and wonderful light to the world, but in case we do,
I think you do.
Oh, I think you do too. I'm just saying I don't know if our show does.
That's true. That's probably true.
No, we know that you guys like our show, and that's why we keep doing it. So we wanted to still sit down and have an episode, especially because we watched a couple of things this week that we really, really liked, and we wanted to bring those to you.
Yeah, just talk about a couple little things. Nothing a lot. We didn't, like I said, we didn't prepare much this time around.
No, but we are doing a review of a movie that just came out, which we don't usually do. Usually we're sort of going back in time and doing something that has been out for a while.
So I say we save that for the second half.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So first then, we're going to talk about a movie that came out last year at Christmas time on Disney Plus, and that's Noelle.
And I watched it last year.
And I watched it this year.
Yeah.
We watched it together.
We watched it together this year because I said to Rich, I said, hey, look, it's Noelle. And he's like, I didn't see that. And I was like, it's really cute. Let's watch it together. So we did.
And it is, in fact, very cute.
Some people, I've noticed, some people are feeling like it's kind of like a cheesy Christmas-inspired, like Hallmark kind of thing.
Yes, 100%.
But it's not. I would not consider this to be a Hallmark type movie.
It's not on the level of a Hallmark movie, but it is pretty cheesy, but it's very intentionally
It's an intentional cheesy. It's not a we're trying to be serious cheesy.
Right. So to be clear, this is not a children's movie. It's a family movie. Mm-hmm. So there's stuff in here that's fun for kids, and there's stuff in here that's fun for adults. Mm-hmm. It's meant to be watched as a family. Although I do believe it's rated G. Like it's safe to just set your kids in front of. It wouldn't be a problem.
Right.
But it's a family movie, not specifically a kid's movie.
So we've got a fun little team up in this.
It's great.
It's mostly Bill Hader and Anna Kendrick. And we are big fans of both of these people. And it is very much an Anna Kendrick type comedy.
Yeah.
If you know what that means, she's poppy.
What was really fun about this, because we like these two people so much, is there was one point where they were talking to each other. I said, babe, close your eyes. Princess Poppy's talking to Flint Lockwood. And because they were doing that's kind of their normal voices, I guess, anyway.
Yeah.
But she was in the very cheerful, and Bill Hader's character was in a very sort of whiny moment of like, oh, come on, why can't we just do this? And like, if you close your eyes, those two characters, it was a lot of fun. So the story of Noelle is that Anna Kendrick and Bill Hader are the children of Santa Claus.
Yes.
And it starts with a really cute scene of Santa coming down the chimney and being caught by young Anna Kendrick's character. I can't remember her name. Noelle. Oh my gosh.
It's the name of the movie.
What I meant was, a moment ago I was trying to think of both of their names and I was blanking, but now when my brain caught up to what we're doing, it remembers it's Noelle and Nick.
Yeah.
I'm back. Y'all.
Noelle. Young Noelle and Nick are catching Santa, and then he kind of goes like, oh, I'm caught. And
they're like, Dad. And you realize it's that they're the children of Santa Claus. Yeah. And so the general story, we won't go crazy deep into it. It's worth a watch, assuming, I guess it'll still be on there for a while. Because I don't think they leave it up year round. I think it came back around Christmas time. But the general story is that it's time for Santa to retire, and he is going to like pass it on, or not retire, but like he needs to train Nick to be Santa Claus. And that training starts. And then in the interim period, we have kind of a flash forward to that Santa has passed away and it's time for Nick to take over. But Nick doesn't want to be Santa Claus.
No, he doesn't like. He doesn't like to be cold, and they live in the North Pole. He doesn't know how to fly the sleigh. He doesn't want to go down the chimneys because he's claustrophobic.
He's claustrophobic. He prefers warm weather.
And Noelle, his sister, is just trying to encourage him and tell him all the how to be Santa, all the little tricks and everything.
And she's basically the spirit of Christmas.
Yes. She's very jolly. They all say that as like that's so jolly. They say that a lot. Nick says, I don't want to be cold anymore. I just want to go someplace warm where I can stretch and breathe. And she's like, well, Christmas is coming up, but why don't you just get away for a weekend and then come back, and then you'll be refreshed and ready to go. So, Nick takes that as, I'm running away. And so he runs away. He does not return. And everyone is very mad at Noelle for telling Nick that he could leave. And now they believe Noelle has ruined Christmas.
Yeah. Which, like, it's sort of weird because it's like, why would you tell him to do that? It's like, yeah, but he did it. He's the one who ran. Like, they're not mad at Nick for leaving. They're mad at Noelle.
Right.
For saying he could leave. Yeah,
because it's Noelle's job to keep him in a good headspace and to keep him jolly.
Yeah, and there's this thing that sort of runs through this, which is like what her role can be, because she says at one point early, this is baby Noelle, not baby, but little girl Noelle. She's like, Dad, when Nick is Santa Claus, what will I be? And he's like, well, what do you mean? She's like, well, like right now you're Santa and Mom is Mrs. Claus and Nick's going to be Santa, but what's my job? And he's like, well, you've just got to be, you know, spunky and keep making Christmas cards and make sure everyone feels the spirit of, and it's kind of like we don't have a job for you. And so they just kind of make it her like his supervisor. And you can tell that that's not enough for Noelle. Yeah. She has more to offer.
Yeah. There is a lot of different little lessons throughout this movie.
Yeah.
So, all in all, she figures out that he has gone to Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah.
And so she jumps on the sleigh to go try to find him and takes along her nanny, Polly.
Who is an elf.
And they go on an adventure to... What did she
say? Arizona.
Phoenix, Arizona. I think Rich laughed the hardest.
It was really funny. I was not expecting a joke there. It was really funny.
Like we said, it's an Anna Kendrick movie. So she takes every little situation and does like a funny little comment about it. Almost every single scene is and Anna Kendrick is doing something funny in it.
Yeah.
So, they get to Arizona, and, I mean, we don't want to go in detail about everything, but they find Nick, and he has become a yogi.
Yeah. She teams up with a local private detective, who's sort of he's one of these types that's like, he's trying to be aloof or cool or something. He's not into the season, but he's a good person.
Yeah. And she tries for most of the movie to convince Nick to come back to the North Pole. While in the North Pole, cousin, what's his name? It's their cousin, has become the new Santa Claus, but actually so it's played by Billy Eichner.
Who we also love.
But he's actually like in the tech support like role of helping Santa Claus, but he has like the hierarchy or whatever has gone down to him being Santa Claus.
Yeah, he's like the next male heir after.
And so he's doing all these algorithms to see what kids are actually naughty or nice, and he's decided that all presents will be delivered by drone or Amazon Prime.
And they're like, I wish we could remember his name, but they're like, but how are we going to do that?
It's still like Cousin Greg or I can't remember his character name.
But they're like, but how are you going to deliver all those? Like we have to have all those drones. That's so many presents to deliver by drone. He goes, oh, there's not really that many presents. I've determined that there's only 2,837 good children in the whole world.
They're the ones that never talked back and always brushed their teeth and always made their bed up.
He's like, I've determined that almost every child has fibbed or failed to clean their room and
or practice poor oral hygiene.
Yeah. And so he's in the North Pole messing things up, and Mrs. Claus, the mother, is sort of pushing back against him, but he's in charge now. Like, the rules, I'm using air quotes here because you can't see me, but the rules are that, and we haven't really talked about this yet, but I did say like the male heir, that's the thing. They assume that there's a male hierarchy.
Yeah.
That leads to who gets to be Santa Claus.
So throughout Noelle's visit to Arizona trying to get Nick back to the North Pole, she realizes she can understand different languages. She realizes that by looking at someone, she can tell if they are naughty or nice without having to interact with them first. And finally, she gets a message from her mom saying, get Nick back here quickly because Cousin Greg, his name isn't Greg.
No, it's not, but it might as well be.
But Cousin Santa is like messing things up. So she convinces Nick to go back. Nick stands in front of everybody and says, I don't want to be Santa, but Noelle should be Santa because she knows how to do it.
She is Santa.
Yeah. And they realize that their little not charter.
Yeah, like the rules. The rules of Santa
don't specify gender.
They've just been doing that as a tradition.
They've always just traditionally chosen the male heir. So Noelle tries to be Santa, kind of messes up a few things, but then she kind of figures out and she becomes the new Santa.
Yeah, there's this cool thing that really I think is one of the biggest things. One of them is like not assuming a male hierarchy thing. But there's also this thing when she gets to Arizona, she's walking around Phoenix and she's like, but it's Christmas. It's the best time of year. And there's so many people who are like, no, Christmas isn't the best time of year for us. Like they don't have work or they've lost someone and, you know.
Yeah, she visits a shelter looking for Nick and she realizes that some people don't have homes for Christmas.
Or like their Christmas wish is for a job and not for a thing.
Yeah.
Not for a toy or something. And so she sort of has this wake up call of, and they ask her when they get to the sort of tribunal of should she be allowed to be Santa Claus or not, they say, well, tell us what Christmas is. Tell us the meaning of Christmas. And she says she has this really good speech about that she thought it was about all these sort of trimmings, the trappings of Christmas.
Yeah.
But she realized that it's not about, I think ultimately she says something like, it's not about the gifts you receive, it's about the gifts you give. And how it's a time for, even if you're not into Christmas, like giving back to people who need it.
Because like, the private detective that she meets in Arizona has a son, and it's their first Christmas as a divided family because the private detective and his former spouse are
they're trying to figure out what to do with
with the son, and all the son wants for Christmas is for them to do the same thing they always did,
for them to just get together.
Christmas.
Yeah,
and that includes the ex-wife like her new husband. Like the boy just wants everybody to be together because that's what they've always done. That's what he wants for Christmas, is just everybody to be together. And she meets this little girl who just wants her mom to get work.
Yeah, to find a job. Yeah. Like to be able to, for them to not have to live in a shelter. Yeah. For her mom to be able to find a job and for them to be safe.
Yeah. So she realizes the true meaning of Christmas.
Yeah. And it's very sweet.
She also realizes that she can be Santa.
Yeah, and I was going to say there's this kind of cool mechanic that they talk about at the beginning of the movie when young Nick is like, I don't think this is going to fit me. Like he tries on the outfit, the hat.
Yeah.
And they say, well, when you're ready to be, when you are ready for it to fit you, it will fit you.
When you fit it.
When you fit it. That's right. When you fit it, it will fit you.
Yeah.
And so there's this moment where she's walking around in the big baggy coat of like traditionally big fat Santa Claus.
And I like that too, where she puts on the Santa suit and it doesn't automatically fit her.
Yeah, even though she's perfect for the job, it's not just like this is the end of the movie. Like she still kind of has to earn it almost.
Right. She goes down the wrong chimneys. She doesn't know how to give the right gifts.
She sets off a lot of house alarms. Yeah.
But it's just, it ends up being, what was the ultimate realization is when she goes to that shelter and sees that little girl again.
She goes into the shelter to drop off presents there, and she wakes everyone up, and they're like sleeping on cots in this big room. So like dozens of people see her, grown-ups and children alike. And she's like, no, just please. And she's already had like the worst night. And she's like, everyone just please just go back to sleep and let me just get by this. And this little girl, and she's deaf. The little girl is like, she's adorable. And then also she's deaf. And so like there's an extra layer of awe on top of it. And she just says to her, she goes, okay, well, good night, Santa. And like, there's her worry all along is like, I don't look like Santa. And maybe I'm not really Santa.
And everybody in the shelter says, thank you, Santa.
Yeah, they all say thank you, Santa, or good night, Santa.
And then the suit conforms to Anna Kendrick's shape and everything like that. So it's really cute. It's a very cute movie. You should watch it. It's one I can imagine it being like a regular thing to watch kind of every year, like a tradition kind of movie almost. I feel like it's, and maybe I'm going to get some clap back on this, but I feel like it's very elf-like.
Yeah, kind of.
It's
not quite as, goofy as in the way that Elf is. Like it's not, the Elf is very, it's like Elf like this. Elf is very informed by Will Ferrell.
Right.
And this is like that. Like it's like that in that this movie is very like Anna Kendrick.
Yes.
But like Anna Kendrick's not a comedian so much. She's just sort of a funny, quippy millennial.
Right.
And so, but it's very that.
Yeah.
It's very quippy. It's very funny.
Yeah.
Very cute.
Yeah.
So watch Noelle. It's post Christmas, but that doesn't mean you can't watch it.
Yeah. And your kids might like it. But it, like Rich said beforehand, Cora didn't really sit and watch too much of it. She asked questions throughout. She was kind of playing as she was watching it, and she would ask what one thing was or whatever.
It's got a very cute little baby reindeer named Snowball.
I love it.
No, Snowcone.
Snowcone. At the beginning, Anna Kendrick, Noelle, opens the windows and goes, ah.
Yeah.
Like, what is the tune that she's, ah.
Yeah, she does the Cinderella thing, basically.
Because she's trying to get the get Snowcone to come to her, and then she goes, and she does that a couple times, and she goes, "Hey, Snowcone!" Yeah. And then Snowcone like starts flying over to her.
Yeah, it's really funny. So Noelle, it's a good one. It's a watch.
It's a watch. It's a watch it.
All right. Well, let's take a quick break. Let's go over to Promoville, grab a Slurpee, and come on right back.
Okay, it's too cold for Slurpees.
A hot Slurpee.
Ugh. That sounds terrible.
Okay, we'll be right back. And we are back from Promoville.
You guys, as I mentioned before, we live in Middle Tennessee, and it is 2020, so, stuff is and we had an explosion downtown and everything Christmas Day, but you guys, you know what? It snowed on Christmas.
It did.
There was straight up a blanket of snow. Stop laughing at me.
Straight up.
I know, but that's just, okay.
It is.
There was a legitimate blanket of snow.
Where there wasn't one on Christmas Eve.
We went to bed. We woke up Christmas morning. It was like Ralphie looking out the window. Yeah. There was Christmas snow.
It was great.
It was really cool. I just had to mention that because it's, like I said, Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
We don't
always get snow on Christmas.
I don't remember getting snow on Christmas.
Yeah.
Specifically on that day.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you. Just the little bit of magic.
Something else that happened on Christmas is Disney made available its new Pixar film, Soul, which we watched.
We did.
And we're going to do, and so we don't usually do this. We don't usually do a movie the moment after it's come out. Mm-hmm. So just be prepared. This is a spoiler warning.
Yes. So if you have not seen Soul, if you love Pixar, if you don't want it ruined, stop this right now. You can listen to us later talk about it.
Yeah. Unless if you don't care about spoilers, just keep going. But
yeah,
it's on Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. Go watch it. Pre spoiler review. It's good. You should watch it.
Yeah.
Now here we go. Spoilers begin.
Okay. If you liked Inside Out, I think you're gonna like Soul.
Yeah, agree.
Even though it is very different.
It's different, but it's very in the same. It's a similar vein. They could almost exist in the same world.
Soul, when I watched it, it did not feel like a regular Pixar movie.
Yeah, this movie...
it didn't feel like that cookie cutter, because every Pixar movie is its own thing. So I don't want everybody thinking like Inside Out and Coco and Finding Nemo, all of those are cookie cutter. That's not what I mean. But each of those brings a sense to you, I believe, while you're watching it. And usually at the end, like Onward and all of those movies, usually at the end, I'm feeling teary or, something like that. This one didn't hit me that way.
Yeah.
This one didn't grab me emotionally like the other ones did. It more made me think.
Yeah.
It was more of a thinker than an emotional movie.
It is definitely a thinker. There was a moment, and I can't actually remember what it was, but there was a moment that it got me. But yeah, you're right. I think this one, and I think we maybe said this briefly, we wanted to save our thoughts mostly for this because we knew we were going to talk about it. But it's not really a kid's movie.
No, it's animated. It's brightly colored.
There are cute creatures in it.
It's beautifully
it's very
animated.
Beautiful.
And in the way that, again, isn't super Pixar-like. I don't know if we want to go step by step through this movie.
No, we would probably talk about it for a really long time if we do every single thing.
Right. I believe the real world aspect of this movie is very Pixar-like.
Yeah.
The afterlife soul area of this movie is animated in a completely different way.
Interesting.
I think.
I thought it reminded me, and actually Cora said this because she was watching it with us. I actually do think that the soul portion of it, which is not the afterlife. Remember, it's like pre-life.
Yes, it's what do they call it? The something school.
I don't remember.
It's where the baby souls
are.
The
U seminar. I think that's what it was.
The U school or something.
U school. I thought they were saying seminar.
Well, it's where all the baby souls are before they are put into human bodies.
Yeah. So we can talk about a little bit of the mechanic of it. The idea is, well, no, I guess we do need to back up. we begin with Joe Jackson. Joe something.
It's Joe. He's a teacher.
He's a middle school band teacher and amazing piano player, like jazz piano player.
Super jazzy.
He has this moment where he's like, at the beginning, he's trying to teach these kids how to play, and they're not doing a good job. As it's kind of a stereotypical middle school band.
Did it bring back memories for you?
It did, except my students were better than that. I'm just saying.
Good work, students.
Yeah. If somehow the kids from my first year 5th grade band, I taught band for 2 years. So I only had 2 of these classes, and both of them were very good. But if you're in the second year band, I want you to close your ears, because it's not that you did a bad job, but my very first year 5th grade band class was amazing. They were so good. Every one of them was so excited to learn an instrument, and they all tried. And at the end of the year, they sounded as good as the 6th and 7th graders. They were so good. So if somehow you all are listening and you're like, hey, that's Mr. Smith.
What year was it?
It was 2010, 2011. So
if you were in 5th grade in 2010, 2011, and you had Mr. Smith for a 5th grade band.
Yeah, in our little bitty band room, there were only like 10 of you, but you were all great. And I think you all know that you were wonderful, but you just need to know you were great. Oh. Anyway. He's a band teacher, but he feels stuck. He feels like that's not what he's supposed to be doing. He feels like he's supposed to be a jazz gig musician.
Yeah.
That he should be in a jazz combo, and that he should be moving around the country playing piano. And guess what, y'all? He's a really good piano player.
He's a super good piano player. Also, he is voiced by Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx, yes.
Jamie Foxx and his milky voice.
Yeah, the mellow tones of Jamie Foxx.
Love listening to some Jamie Foxx.
That's something I really like about Pixar. I like that Pixar brings in like they'll just bring in, I don't know. There's something about that, like having a celebrity voice.
They bring in the voices that match the characters.
Yeah. And he is perfect in this.
Yeah.
And so he feels stuck. He gets a call from a previous student who is a gig musician. He's a drummer for a jazz group. And he said, hey, this amazing, famous, jazz saxophone player lady, is looking for a new piano player. And I told her that I knew someone who's good. You come down and audition. So he goes down, he auditions, he gets the gig.
Nails it.
He gets the gig, and he's so excited.
So excited.
On his way from the audition, he's so excited he's not paying attention to his surroundings, and he falls down a manhole. Yeah. Which, if you saw any of the previews for the movie, you knew that was going to happen.
Right. I mean, it's about his soul. So.
So he lands on this big conveyor belt that's leading to the great beyond, which is sort of this. He's on this big black space, and the great beyond is this giant. And it's pretty funny.
Giant white light they're going towards.
Huge white light, and it looks like it's pulling like light into it, and he's kind of in awe of it. And he sees other souls on this sort of conveyor belt leading up there. He's like, where are we? And they're like, oh, and they're all kind of like old people.
It's the afterlife.
They're like, oh, I've been waiting years to get here. And he's like, I don't know. And he kind of backs up and lets them go ahead of him. And when they get close to the light, you hear, it
sounds like one of those bug zappers.
It sounds like a bug zapper. And he just starts running. He starts running away from the afterlife. And so he starts encountering more and more people, and they're all excited to be moving on. But he's like, no, I'm not done. My life just started. Because he feels like the thing he was meant to do was just given to him, and then he ended up here. And so he gets off the conveyor. He actually jumps off the conveyor belt.
Forces his way kind of over, through a wall of sorts.
And then he falls through this sort of, kaleidoscopic thing, and he lands in a different place. And again, if you saw the previews, this is him landing here, and he goes, "Is this heaven? Is this hell? Mm-hmm. Where am I?" And they're like, "No, it's hard to explain, but you're in the before mm-hmm. times here." And so this is where we were talking about. This is where the babies are, mm-hmm. The baby souls, and they have to establish a personality.
Yes, they are giving. They're in. What are those called? Jerrys.
Yeah, the Jerrys.
The Jerrys.
There's these sort of spirit creatures. The ones that look like the big 2D doodles.
Yeah.
If you saw the preview, all of those, there's a bunch of those, and they're all called Jerry.
Yes. They're all called Jerry, and they kind of shepherd these baby souls to develop personalities. So they say like, okay, you 5, you go and you be insecure. And they they almost have on their chest, they have these little badges. It's a round thing that has spots that are filled in. And so...
And once they all fill in, it changes, and now you have a pass to go to Earth.
So, like, some of them are going to have an insecurity, and some of them are going to have a curiosity, and some of them are going to have what am I thinking? What's another thing? Intelligence or whatever. And so each of those spots gets filled up, and then when each of those spots is filled up, there's one last spot for their spark.
Yeah, and so they're what they think Joe is here to do is they pull out sort of inspiring people mm-hmm. to be mentors to help people fill in that last spot. Mm-hmm. And what they do is they're like, you could do this in a lot of ways. You could take them around to they could look at your life and see if there's something inspiring there, or we have this like giant hall of amazing things, and you can have them look at all these things and see if there's something. And the idea of what it seems they're talking about is like that you're going to find the thing that is going to be your thing
your purpose.
Yeah, your purpose in life.
Yeah.
And so Joe's not supposed to be here,
right? And the Jerrys have they have what am I thinking? They have mistaken him. I couldn't think of the word. They've mistaken him for a famous psychologist that was supposed to come in and be a mentor. And so they decide this famous psychologist needs to be paired up with, first, one of the Jerrys is one of our favorite voices of all time.
Yeah.
And it's the guy that plays...
I don't know how to say his last name. It's Richard Ayal.
If you guys have seen the IT Crowd... He is Moss.
He's this guy. He talks like this.
Yes, good job. Yes, it's him. He plays one of the Jerrys, and I love his voice is fantastic.
That sounds great.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm pretty good at his voice.
You're doing a really good job. That Jerry pairs up Joe, thinking that he's this famous psychologist, pairs him up with soul number 22.
Number 22.
Who has been there for a very long time.
For thousands of years.
Who cannot find their spark. Who cannot find the thing that completes their personality.
And 22 is voiced by the incomparable Tina Fey.
Tina Fey. Which actually, I was like, who is that at first? It didn't strike me at first who it was, and you had to tell me that it's Tina Fey, and of course as soon as I knew that, I knew it was Tina Fey.
And it was funny, about the time we were talking about it, I think what brought it up actually, I don't know, maybe not, but Cora was saying that she goes, she reminds me of that movie with the feelings. Mm-hmm. And we were like, oh yeah, Inside Out. And we were like, yeah, because Tina Fey.
No, she doesn't. No, Tina Fey doesn't play Joy.
Right.
Amy Poehler plays
Joy. And they have a very similar thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's Tina Fey. And the thing is, 22 doesn't want to graduate to Earth.
22 thinks Earth is just the worst.
She would rather just go straight to the afterlife. She doesn't want to go to Earth. And she's been mentored by like great people throughout history.
Abraham Lincoln and like
I think Aristotle,
maybe
they
Gandhi
said,
or
Mother Teresa,
yeah.
a bunch of people, and they all end up like hating her.
Yeah, they all end up going like there is no
she's
spark
selfish.
for her.
She's never gonna, and that's part of the thing. Like the first baby soul we see get mentored is number like 7,843,000
Right.
something. It's a long number. It's a big number.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, and then you're going to be paired with number 22.
Who's been there since the number 22 was around.
So the insinuation is that she's one of the oldest souls to exist, but she has never made it to Earth.
Yeah. So, I think we're gonna, I don't want to go super, super far past that point.
I do want to, I kind of want to. I don't want to I don't want to do the whole story.
Okay.
So we won't. So yeah, we'll leave out the middle part.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Which I'll also say was not my favorite part of the movie. I can't explain why.
Okay.
But the part I think we're both talking about it wasn't my favorite part, but
there's a soul mix up.
Yeah, there's a mix up. Something happens. You'll see. It wasn't my favorite part, but that's where a lot of the important learning part happened.
Right.
So watch it. You may feel differently. It wasn't my favorite part.
Yeah.
But ultimately, so we'll just kind of skip to the lesson.
Skip to the end.
What we learn towards the end of the movie, Joe has to get back to 22, who's back in the
soul realm.
She's actually in the zone. So they describe this, and they like, whenever musicians or people who are like athletes just say they're in the zone, like that's a spiritual place where their souls go temporarily. And like the idea is that like deep spiritual thinkers go to this place to like commune with other spirits. It's kind of a cool thing. But this is also where people who are like lost souls go. And so 22 has had kind of a crisis of identity, and she's a lost soul at this point in the movie. And so
she believes she has no purpose.
Right. So Joe gets back to the pre-place and then gets into the zone. So Joe's gotten back to that place, and he's talking to the Jerrys about 22, and he's like, "Yeah, we were trying to find her purpose." And I said, "What were you trying to do? What? Trying to find her what?" And he's like, the purpose. It's
the spark.
It's the spark. It's the thing, like, you have to find your purpose before you can go. And they're like, oh, silly humans. It's not about purpose. And Joe realizes that he's thought all along that the reason he was born
was to play the piano.
Like this whole thing cemented in his mind that, okay, everyone has a thing. Everyone has a thing that they are going to be great at.
Yeah.
And that's what lets them come to Earth, and everyone comes to Earth with that ingrained in them. And
he says that often. He says, I was born to do this.
Yeah.
This is my purpose. I was born with the purpose to do this.
Right.
Like, he says that over and over.
And so the Jerrys are like, no, it's not that. And he realizes that all the spark is the spark is a soul being inspired to be ready to live. So it's not that it's like, oh, you saw a great piano performance and now you're going to be a piano player because that was your thing. It's just that, oh wow, that's really cool. That it's the thing that finally makes a soul want to go to Earth to find to live.
And he kind of realizes this through his adventures with 22. 22 seeing Earth as with, again, in quotes, no spark, no purpose. 22 seeing very small little things that we all take for granted, like walking or the sun shining or
like the little twirly seeds. Yeah.
Or a little girl loving to play an instrument.
Yeah.
Or, they realize that that is the purpose. All of those things are the purpose for being alive.
Yeah. That anything can be that thing.
Yeah.
Joe says a thing at one point, when they're sort of observing those things, those little basic things, and she's like, maybe walking's my spark. And he goes, no, that's just regular living.
Yeah.
And he realizes, no, that can be
living.
it. That can be it is living. That's the
Walking
point.
Walking is living. She eats a piece of pizza for the first time.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, what if pizza is my purpose? Stuff like that.
He's like, no, that's just normal stuff.
That's just living. That's
boring.
Life.
That's boring normal life.
And we come to realize that having a good slice of pizza or going for a walk or seeing those twirly leaves falling from the trees, that is life.
Yeah.
Those little things are life.
Yeah. And so like we said, it's super deep.
Extremely deep. So that's why we said it's not necessarily a kids movie. Kids can watch it.
Yeah.
And Cora enjoyed a lot of it. Again, she kind of like was semi-watching it. She doesn't really sit long enough for movies. But the overall lesson, I believe, is much deeper, much more existential. Mm-hmm. And that's a big old word I just said. I usually don't say big words. Thanks. That sounded so dumb of me.
I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
I usually don't say such big words.
I like little words.
So anyway.
It's a good movie. I wonder, I think I'm gonna have to watch it again. And think about, because the thing is, it's a Pixar movie, and so it doesn't just get a pass because it's a Pixar movie.
Sure. I know several people I've noticed already that have watched it are like, this isn't my favorite. Because, like I said, it feels different.
Yeah. I don't mean this in a bad way. It's not as fun.
It's not as fun. It's more grown up.
Yeah. Like we said before, it's a thinker. You have to be paying attention and get the themes as it goes, and it's beautifully constructed, and it's very beautiful to look at. And it's got some fun cartoon aspects. It's got a little bit of slapstick stuff in it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's a pretty mature, not like graphic mature or something.
Right.
But it's
not mature content, but mature thinking.
Yeah.
Critical thinking skills.
Yeah. So, I think the thing is, like, when we finished it, we said this movie was for us.
Right.
This movie wasn't for, I think that's what it is. It's normally Pixar makes kids movies that it sneaks adult stuff into. Mm-hmm.
That adults
they didn't try to sneak it this time. They just made a cartoon movie for grown-ups.
Yeah. It felt like a deep grown-up cartoon.
Yeah. So yeah, it's and in that way it's pretty different from
And I think that's
Pixar
why
movies.
some people aren't enjoying it as much. I think they're feeling, I mean, there is some, funny, cute little comedy in it, but it's not as laugh out loud Dory. It's not, that sort of thing. Anyway.
Yeah.
But
it sounds like, I hope you understand, it sounds like we're down on it a little bit, and we're not.
No, we're just trying to explain what the difference is between Soul and what I described earlier as a cookie cutter Pixar movie. Because it doesn't follow that template, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's making me think.
It is. I'll have to watch it again. It's a good one. It's got a recommendation from us.
Absolutely. Both of the movies we talked about today, 5 stars. Siskel and Ebert 2 thumbs up. Would watch again.
10 out of 10 would recommend. Mm-hmm. Well, this has been another episode of Not Suitable for Adults. We didn't do an activity this week.
We're having a short little I feel like this is a short episode, but
it's not really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a full-length episode where we just only talked about a couple movies.
I know. It feels like we were boring this time.
Hey, y'all. Sorry.
Sorry we were boring.
Remember when I did that fun impression of that guy? Yeah, that was fun.
You are really proud of yourself now.
Well, I wasn't sure I was going to do it really good, and then you gave me a really positive response.
You did actually do very good, but it's not as attractive when you say that you did a really good job.
I understand.
Okay. Marriage.
Hey, if you're not already subscribed to the show, why not? Go ahead and subscribe. Also, you know what? Tell your friends about the show. We do our best to not just be for parents of young children. Mm-hmm. We try and mix it up. And so, maybe, especially if you're one of those people who I'm not a parent of a young kid, but I like the show, tell some of your friends because they might like it too. And because we want more people to listen to the show.
Cora, do you want to say happy holidays to everyone? No? Come here. I will.
Yeah, we'll open your slime in a second.
Say happy holidays, everyone. Right in here.
Happy holiday, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, here you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
She has so much slime.
Yeah, she got a lot of slime for Christmas.
Who decided? I mean, it's been around for a long time. It was Gak when we were kids. You remember Gak? Do you remember Gak?
I don't think we did slime much when we were kids.
You didn't have Gak?
We did silly putty.
Silly putty, sure.
But that's not slime.
No, Gak is slime. Gak came from...
I'm telling you, we didn't really do slime when we were kids.
Gak was a Nickelodeon thing. And then there was Squand. Do you know about Squand?
It was... Why are we talking about this right now?
Hey, Natalie, do you remember Squand?
No, I don't remember Squand.
It was sculpting sand that you put underwater. So, you poured it in a big fish tank or something, and then you could sculpt it. But then if it dried out, it just dissolved into dry sand.
Okay, listen. No, I didn't. We played outside. We played with sticks and rocks.
I did that too, but I also played with Gak and Squand. All right. Be sure and share the show. We hope that you had a great time with us. We're about to be in the new year. Mm-hmm. The next episode will be in the new year.
And we've got our own big adventures coming up in the new year.
That's right. So we're going to be doing a little move.
We're going to be moving. That's pretty much it.
But it's a big
adventure.
Thing.
We're going to be moving. So, well, keep y'all updated if you even care about that. But, 2021.
Yeah, 2021's coming. I saw a thing on I think on Facebook or Twitter or something that was like, okay, listen. No one say 2021 is going to be my year. We're all in this together, but we need to move in slowly and cautiously. Quietly. Don't touch anything.
Yeah, I saw that.
So do that. Let's enter 2021 a little bit cautiously.
I think everybody should enter 2021 asleep.
Yes.
Yeah. I think so. And don't party.
No parties. Don't be awake at midnight.
Don't be awake. Everybody go to sleep at 9.
Yeah, please.
And get a really good night's sleep leading into 2021. Yeah. And I really think that the universe will take that as a sign that 2021 is going to be a super chill
year. If we
year.
all come in well rested and hydrated, I think we'll be in good shape for 2021.
I like that.
But no matter what, just don't forget
2021. That's 2021. Well rested and hydrated.
Yeah. That's everyone's theme for 2021. Okay. On our best behavior. So let's do that. Let's be really careful getting into 2021. Just don't forget, you are the boss.
So watch whatever you want.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.